back. It is Sports Central, and my name is Vladimir Kim. Getting even further exciting. Before the team are still with me going nowhere. Well, before you get to talk about football stories around the world, first let's give a tip regarding the NBA, the world of basketball. The Timberwolves this morning, or early hours of the morning, late yesterday, got a victory. Played against OKC, Oklahoma City Thunders, and the Thunders defeated them 118 66, and the man Gilgeous-Alexander doing the magic for the OKC. 38 points, 8 assists, 3 steals, and now 2-0 lead for OKC in that direction in the best-of-7 series. And now quickly let's get to talk about football stories around the world, and the first conversation would center around Nigerian striker. How many people talked about a player when he was scoring goals left, right and center in the Belgium League, but somehow moved to talking about Gift Orban. But Gift Orban, injuries began to slow him down, and a mixed performance quickly now slowed down.
Because over the time Lyon had got, he just came in and he left and remained at Lyon. It would have been a different ballgame because we've seen the likes
It wouldn't stop him from getting injured.
Oh, no,
because this is an injury problem, not in Lyon. It was an attitude problem in training, but this one, the coach was playing him in the Bundesliga. In the spotlight, everyone was talking about him, but boom, injury came and all of that.
Well, I think for Gift Orban, let's just hope that he remains fit next season, because that's going to be the most important thing for him. As a striker, as a player of a football club, you need to stay in the Belgian League. We rarely had cases of Gift Orban getting injured, maybe apart from that period he was being invited for the Super Eagles of Nigeria for the very first time, and he got injured. But since then, we've never really heard of injuries.
Could it be a factor of age beginning to catch up with him?
He's 23.
Yeah.
That's still very young. I don't think it's age.
Not age, it's 23. Sometimes people say that 23, but somehow the body can cope. Maybe early struggles with injury, depending on the nature of that bones and all of that. I'm not saying he's doing age cheating. I'm not saying that. Anyway, let's move to other conversation around Europe and talk about it. Getting further interesting now. Today would be such a big game in the Serie A, Italian Serie A, part of a conversation with a battle between Napoli and Cagliari at home, and Como against Inter going away from home. Well, Napoli is just stopping Inter with 1 point, and the last game in Serie A, both teams faltered their line for Napoli, and Napoli pulled a goalless draw in that game, I think against Parma, and Inter Milan a 2-2 draw against Lazio. One interesting thing happened in those two games, both managers, talking about Simeone Inzaghi of Inter Milan and Antonio Conte of Napoli, they receive red cards, and somehow in this particular game they wouldn't be on the stands. So unfortunately, interesting things playing out in Serie A, and not just about the form of the teams. It's taking to the last day to decide who wins the trophy. And Napoli coach Antonio Conte is saying, look, he regrets the absence for Serie A final, not being on the stand. He takes responsibility for it, but such a big game to talk about.
Well, definitely, I think for Napoli right now, they have to go all the way and win the league, because they top Inter Milan with just 1 point, and if they get to drop point in their last 2 games, they've dropped point in their last 2 games. That's the reason why they are even in this murky waters with Inter Milan at this detrimental to Napoli. But of course, Inter Milan as well. Simone Inzaghi also going to be absent from the sidelines. But when you look at the side, these both teams are playing against. Napoli host Cagliari, or Inter are away to high-flying Como with Cesc Fabregas, who's been doing excellently well. So if you are now Napoli, because they are at home, first of all, Inter Milan, if they get to draw once again, Inter Milan might just be winning away from home and then being crowned champions. But at the end of it, I feel Napoli, I just want to pitch my tent with Napoli in this one. Antonio Conte is going to be a winner once again.
Antonio Conte being a winner once again. 79. Blyden came Fontina still with me for company and still talking football stories. Blyden came Fontina still with me for company and still talking football stories around the world after the conversation regarding the battle between Inter Milan. They won so many titles for Real Madrid. How many titles won? 20-something titles in that direction. Talking about the Champions, something titles in that direction. Talking about the Champions League, the World Club Cup. But the biggest of them all would be an individual title in the era of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, the Ballon d'Or, League, the World Club Cup. But the biggest of them all would be an individual title in the era of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, the Ballon d'Or. Luka Modric calls it done for Luka Modric calls it done for Tina. Just a few seconds, you take this and the rest we see how to wrap up the show.
Yeah, definitely. I think Luka Modric is the legend of the game. Just I think he's won the Ballon d'Or, the only player to do that in that generation of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. So it proves the fact that this man is one of the best midfielders ever to grace the round leather game. I think he deserves to
still stay at the club, but the leadership of the club must have an end. Well, moving towards the end of the show anyway, just as we started with the show, not like Luka Modric in this one, well, retiring at the show, not like Luka Modric in this one, well, retiring at the end of it with high-flying callers. Rafinha was about leaving Barcelona, but his wife put him through and told him, let's try out again. And it happened instead. And this time out, he's really gotten the numbers. 59 goal contribution this season. And well, about 34 goals, 25 assists this season. And now he's been given a contract extension that will span until 2028. How things happen fast in football. I mean, while Ruben Amorim is prioritizing pace and power for Manchester United signing. In fact, I would want you to talk about it, but no time. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Ruben Amorim is saying, let's look at pace and power, athleticism, in signings for Manchester United. Can he change the fortune of Manchester United after losing to Tottenham Hotspur, the Europa Cup final? Well, Bruno Fernandes, Alejandro Garnacho are casting doubt over future. And Bruno says, if they want to sell me, no problem. But he's not ready to go. And Garnacho is saying he should have started that game. And many people are looking at where this could lead to in a conversation as ex-Brentford striker Tony Ains, England, recall. He plays club football in Saudi League now. I mean, while English forward Jamie Vardy is a target for Spanish side Valencia. We'll call it done here. Thank you for being a part of the show, one way or the other. And thank you for joining. My name is Blyden Rakim. Tomorrow is another day.